and action. So maybe you're thinking about making your next solo project. Maybe it's a YouTube video, maybe it's a narrative short film, a music video, a spec commercial. I recently made a science fiction short film, and the film had dolly moves, it had dozens of setups, it had complicated lighting, and really there was one tool that made this all possible. I would not have been able to make the short film without this one tool, and that tool is the Hollyland Pyro 7 monitor and the Pyro S transmitter receiver combo. By the way, this video is sponsored by Hollyland, but it is not a review. It's more of an overview of the tools, how I use them in my workflow, and how you can think about using them when you make your next project. When making a project by yourself, being able to look at the monitor, to see the frame, to see the composition, to see the lighting, is the most essential part of the process. It cannot be done to the highest level without wireless monitoring. And hopefully this will inspire you to start thinking about how you can get out there and start making your dream projects possible as well. I am including the short film real time at the end of this video, so stick around to see how it came out. So first, let's talk about what these tools are. So we have the Pyro 7, which is a monitor, it is a transmitter, it is a receiver, 2.4 gigahertz signals, as well as 5 gigahertz signals. This is really great because it can basically choose which transmission signal has the least interference. The particular kit that I have came with these director's handles. The monitor runs off of Sony NPF batteries, but there is also a DC in plug. And we have SDI in, SDI out, HDMI in, HDMI out, headset, USB. We have function buttons for custom functions. This could be anything from switching on and off focus assist to a LUT. It's really whatever you want. We have this great on and off switch, green to red. I love that. I love when these things are tactile and simple. We also have additional threaded mounting points on the handles here in case you want to attach a wireless follow focus thumb wheel. And then each handle has not only the ability to attach straps, so you can wear this around set as a director, but each handle also has a little embedded Allen wrench, which I think is a neat little feature there. Much of this is made out of plastic, but it is made of metal where it is necessary, and the whole thing feels very sturdy and strong. Now for the transmitter receivers, these are made out of a magnesium alloy. These feel very solid, very strong, and they have basic on and off switches, which just feels great. It's very simple. This is one of those systems where you can really just reach around and feel what you are switching on and off. You're not having to hold down buttons and do all those things that I hate. It's just on and off switches. Very intuitive, very simple. You can manually choose the channels, but it will just sync up automatically out of 8 channels. And then there's a group pairing where you can create different groups in case you have multiple monitors on set. You can also connect up to 4 different receivers from this, which also is a transmitter. This also has both SDI and HDMI ports as well. And if you're a doofus like me and you break one of the paddle antennas on your second or third day of shooting, there is a replacement, which is also very helpful. Gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. All right. No! Oh, we're okay. Now, in terms of features, this really has everything you would expect out of a high-quality monitor. What is so great about this is I think I spent 5 minutes with this before rolling on my actual short film. When you are making any kind of project, time is of the essence. It's always of the essence. If you're doing an actual film that requires crew, or if you're working by yourself and you're working between your kids' nap times, or, you know, your wife coming home from the grocery store with the toddler and you've got 45 minutes, time is of the essence. So what is fantastic about this is I literally switch on those power switches. It's plugged in via HDMI and it is good to go. It is ready to go. And beyond that, the menus are so intuitive and simple. It's all icons. And if you've used monitors before, you'll instantly know what each of these icons are. We have histogram, we have vector scope, we have waveform, we have focus peaking, we have zebra, we have false color. And then what also came in really handy when I was making this film is I was really struggling to figure out what aspect ratio I wanted to shoot in. I debated anamorphic, but I ultimately didn't have a lens wide enough for the garage. So then I decided on spherical. I initially thought maybe I would do 166 to 1 or 16 by 9 because it fit the whole time machine within the frame, and ultimately a lot of the shots were more vertical than they were horizontal in terms of composition, but it didn't quite feel cinematic enough. Like it didn't have that instant magic to it. So I ended up opting for 222 to 1, which is not native, but lucky for me, it was a aspect ratio that I could type in custom. So 2.2 to 1. This is the aspect ratio of like Lawrence of Arabia and all these 70mm classic movies. Oppenheimer, some of Christopher Nolan's recent movies are cropped to 2.2 to 1 when they're not getting the full IMAX presentation. So I figure if it's good enough for David Lean and Christopher Nolan, by golly, it's good enough for me. Quick editor's note here. At the time of making this video initially, I was in the middle of production on the short film, and I was waffling back and forth on what aspect ratio I wanted to shoot in. I decided to do 2.2 to 1, and then at the last minute, I decided I liked that 1.85 to 1 aspect ratio more. It just felt bigger, and there were some more interesting compositions in there that I felt like I was cropping. So although this tool is very useful for dialing in those unique aspect ratios, the film did end up being 1.85 to 1. And again, every aspect of this is customizable. And same thing with anamorphic. You can customize, like if you have a 1.6 stretch lens, for instance, you can type that in. Beyond that, you are able to record to a 32 gigabyte SD card. Also able to take still images. You are also able to do image overlays. So like if you're doing a shot recreation, this is very useful for getting the scale and the lensing and the positioning perfect. The record mode I found to be very useful. I think it's great if you as a director want to just create references or throw something up on social media, do something quickly. The one thing that I would warn is I was using this a lot and I was like, oh great, I can use these for my shot breakdowns. So I was doing lighting tutorials as I was making the film, and rather than recording to the camera, which was a high quality codec, I just wanted to save the card space. I was recording to this instead. And when I brought it into my editor in post, there were all sorts of sync issues. It just came out of sync very quickly. So I need to tinker around with this more to understand what's going on there. But that was a bit frustrating because it made those tutorials altogether useless. That being said, for just strictly capturing imagery, it's great for that. You can also capture screenshots as well. Now, I'm not going to get into all the nitty-gritty of the specs of this thing or the latency. In general, though, I just want to give my impressions and how it helped me in making this film. This film was very run and gun. It was in the middle of a very busy season for me. I've had a lot of projects going on for work, etc. It's just been very relentless. So I needed to execute on this, but execute excellently. And not only that, but it was a solo project. It required a lot of me through acting, through cinematography, through directing. And so being able to not have something clunky in order to monitor and not having a phone. You know, I've used phone apps in the past that sometimes get the job done, but frankly, often the apps don't even connect to my camera. There's issues with connection. So being able to have something that is so reliable, so intuitive and quick and runs off of batteries for a very long time, I couldn't have made this film without that. I truly could not have at the pace that I was going. I filmed for 5 days. I was filming all day, and I was having to, again, squeeze in scene after scene within these tight little windows of when my kids were at the grocery store with my wife and those types of things. Being able to just have something so reliable that you switch on and off and it works and you get a good image out of it, and you have the exposure tools and the color tools that you need in order to do the cinematography aspect as well as the acting. Also, that is where the record button came in handy, especially more than anything on set, is that often the playback on the FX3 through HDMI is very clunky and I don't always get a LUT on it. So being able to just be like, you know what, I want to see this one and play it back, record it on here, and then just being able to pull up that playback and very quickly scrub through it and be like, this is the moment I want to see again. Did it work? Did it not? Was absolutely game changing. I needed that. I couldn't have done it without it because there were so many little technical details to this shoot, you know, focus buzzes or I didn't quite get the timing, or maybe, you couldn't see a tear that I was shedding. There were just so many variables. I cannot recommend this system highly enough. Both of them together, if you get them in the combo, it's $900. So definitely check out my links below if you are interested in this system. But like I said, the reliability, the speed at which it works, I'm not exaggerating when I say this was the most important tool that I used on this shoot. The electric slider was nice, the lighting was nice, but this was the tool that I could not have done the shoot without. So I'm very grateful again to Hollyland for sponsoring this video and sending this product for me to use for the short film. But for now, I hope you enjoy Real Time, which is starting right now. I'm building a time machine. Yes, I'm serious. As to the why, well, I think that's pretty obvious. I started building it a week after the accident. I'll do anything just to see them again. The note didn't help, but somehow it has the exact data I needed. Just a test. Nothing crazy. It worked. It actually worked. Now, let's not waste any time. 10:24, 8 a.m. Nobody's leaving the house that day. Jeannie! Elliot! 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 It didn't work. Why didn't it work? The machine was ready. The data set worked. Until it dawned on me. I could only go back as far as the machine existed. But there must be some other way. And I had to figure it out. I needed to fix this. The one thing I now had on my side was time. I waited a week, collected data, went back a week, tested, rinse, and repeat. Grief turned to fixation, fixation to obsession, obsession to depression. Days turned to weeks, weeks to months, and after a while, I had lost myself. The outside world hadn't changed, but I had. I saw the toys as if for the first time. And then it hit me. It was time. I won't listen. I'll do it all again anyway. But I'll remember. I'll grieve. And eventually, I'll say goodbye. Yeah, I hope you guys are inspired. Let me know what you think of the short film. Either comment here or comment on the other link to the film itself. And if you hate it, let me know. If you love it, let me know. If you want to argue about time travel, let me know. I would love to discuss that with you. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.